Hello, so today's going to be a very high roll game. This is actually going to be a Arcana game, so it's going to be 5 Arcana. Excuse me. So 5 Arcana is really strong. We're not playing like technically vertical Arcana. I guess you can treat this as more of a like a Xerath game per se. But basically we're just going to be playing around Arcana as a trait, and I'll talk a lot about Arcana and what makes it really strong. And why a lot of times the best way to make your board really strong is just to play a Xerath at the end of your game, right? Anyways, it's a Scuttle Puddle game, so it's gonna be very high roll. Obviously, with Scuttle Puddle, I feel like I made a video on variances and portals and galaxies and stuff like that for set 11. I might make another one for this set 12. But basically, all you have to know about Scuttle Puddle is that typically you're gonna see crazy boards that otherwise you wouldn't see on in other lobbies, just because the influx of gold makes it so that if you're high rolling and you hit your units, you cap out really high. Like, the boards are going to be very strong. So a lot of the consistent boards often don't do as well. If you try and shoot the moon and you try and go for like some wild crazy board, you might just die super early because everybody else is going to be really strong. It's a very like high roller's paradise. But anyways, the only reason I'm bringing it up because obviously that's going to help make my board really crazy. Royal Guard, I think it's really bad. I don't like to play around Vertical Fairy still. I think it's a lot better, and you could play around Katarina in a lot of cases. That's like the really secret sauce. Katarina's very strong in a lot of situations, especially now that Ahri got nerfed quite a bit. As long that there's not as many Ahri players, the warrior comps are really strong. But I don't think it's that good. I'd rather just say Combat Caster. I think in general, Combat Caster is still pretty strong. There's a couple units that don't like it as much, but Combat Caster has been a strong augment. It's a strong default augment for a variety of units, a variety of ways. Basically, when you cast, you get a shield. It scales with the round. It's good for units that cast a lot. It's good for melee units. It's good for frontline units. It's just like a nice generic augment that even last set, when it was around last set, it was like an always must take. But here, out of my options, I think it's the best one I can get. I double slam items here. It looks like I can win this fight. Like I said, Scuttle Puddle. I'm trying to play in such a way that I am as strong as possible. I don't know if I'm particularly going to be playing around Zoe reroll in this case. So Zoe with the Bastion frontline, then you play around Rise. I think I might just be leaning towards playing around Rise in general. Adaptive Helm. It's a little bit of an awkward item to slam. I just made it because I want to make sure that I'm trying to win as many rounds as possible. I've lost so many games. Like, all of these games are all like loot sub Scuttle Puddle games. I'm done with playing like super reserved and like greeting and doing all of that. It's like I'm just slamming. I just want to, like, I want to play for a fourth, right? I want to have early econ, have early wins, have early HP so that I can like try and hit a board later. I'm gonna try and cook at a level 8 board. I've been trying to do this and trying to get better at it. Just like trying to recognize which units synergize really well with each other to kind of play as flexibly as possible. I think there's a lot of room for flex play in this patch, as well as the last patch. Even the Syndra patch, I felt like you can play pretty flexibly. It was just like you get punished really severely by the Syndras and the Ahris, and now the Katarinas and the Warriors. But there's always going to be a reroll comp like that, so it's pretty. You have a lot of options on level 8, is what I'm trying to say. But with these items are really good on Nami. If you look up Nami, she really likes Adaptive Helm, she really likes Nashers too. They're also okay on Rise. So I'll say Nami good, Rise okay, and then if we really have to, we can play Karma, but this is like sus because Karma's a little bit weak out of the current ones. But these are all the AP units. These are all the units that use rod items and tier items that you would play on level 8, right? So when you're rolling for level 8, you're rolling for 4 cost. You're trying to build a board around 4 cost. A 2-star 4 cost is typically like a nice stabilized strong unit that you usually end the game with. And that's just like the tempo and cadence of TFT in general. So I'm trying to aim towards like econ management, right? I want to make it as many econ thresholds as possible. I'm winning 2 rounds here, so I'm not going to like sell my board, open sell to make 40 gold. I'm just going to like sit with the 30 gold and try and win another round if I can. Of course, Combat Caster, really strong augment. These units are very strong. Zoe is just absolutely demolishes boards, so I wouldn't be surprised if I won like everything this stage. And then I have a Tristana, which also gives me the Fairy +1, which helps the Tristana stabilize with a little bit of damage. So as you can see here, I might even win this round. We don't know. I don't know for sure. It comes down to this Ahri. But yeah, she got cursed now, so she's gonna lose a bit of HP. Bang. We're actually winning. We have a Zoe 1, a Poppy 1, and a Lilia 1. Now, I'm not saying that's going to always win you rounds, but that's why I slammed items, right? If you don't know, Zoe 1 with items, you can win a lot of fights. I've played a lot of, I've seen a lot of Zoe 1s in their time, full streak, and just be ready for it, right? So that's me this lobby, so that's part of like understanding how to play the opener a little bit. That's partially why I slammed items. I also have many outs. The items that I slammed are pretty good on both Rise and Nami, so I feel comfortable around playing with each of them. Of course, Adaptive Helm, I wouldn't recommend always slamming Adaptive Helm. If you see it, Adaptive is always really good in the stats. It's really strong. Units really love it. The problem with Adaptive Helm is that, I'll ask you a question. I'll give you like a couple seconds to answer, and then I'll give you the answer. What components make Shred? What components make a Shred item? Alright, the components you need to make Shred. If you're making a Spark, it's a tier plus Cloak. Right? And if you're making a Shiv, a static Shiv, it's a tier plus, or sorry, it's not a tier, it's a rod plus a cloak, and this is a tier plus a bow. So if you're making a Spark, you need a rod, and if you're making a Shiv, you need a tier. If you're making a Spark, you also need a cloak, and if you're making a Shiv, you need a bow. So if you look at Adaptive Helm uses a cloak and a tier, so you lock yourself out of making a Spark or a Shiv with this item. Now, why is Shred really important? Shred increases the amount of damage your whole team is doing, right? If you make a static Shiv, you are shredding and hitting backline units a lot of the time. If you're making a Spark, it's a decent frontline unit that also shreds all the frontline units really reliably. So usually you want to make, at one point, both of these items for your team. The reason, if you're playing around AP, you're doing magic damage, you want to reduce the magic resist. That's called shredding. So you want to make those two items. Adaptive Helm, you know, it's a very high roll item. It's strong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's weak. I'm not saying it's bad. It is one of the best items, but you have to be careful around it, right? That's what I would that's what I would give you as a caution. Here, I just leveled. I'm going to be able to make 50. It's Scuttle Puddle, so as you can see, I'm making 50 gold and I'm level 5. I won those rounds that I wanted to. I don't think I'm winning this round. This guy has a Pyro Emblem with three items, so the chances are I'm going to lose this round. Just I won't be able to like get to this guy in time. Also an Akali too, very strong. But look how far ahead I am, right? I can sell this Galio and make 50 gold. Oh, actually I won. That's so funny. You see Zoe? Isn't that crazy? That got a Akali too. I'm level 50. I'm level 5, 50 gold, right? That's a Scuttle Puddle. This is what I mean. It's a high roller lobby. I high rolled. I got Combat Caster. Combat Caster is really good, especially for my board. I made all my items, and I full streaked. I did a 5 streak. I actually thought it would only be a 4 streak. Being a 5 streak is crazy to me, because I think I should have lost against that guy. Some of the other boards were a little bit sus, but that guy looks strong. And that's enough, right? Look at my unit. They're all 1-star. They're all 1-star trash. And I'm 50 gold, level 5. Like, clap. The game's fucking over, right? Because now, the thing is, it's like, I'm so far ahead on gold. I'm level 5, 50 gold. I could be level 6 next turn. I could be level 7, like, before Carousel. I'm gonna be level 8 with, like, 100 fucking gold. I can play whatever I want. That's the main thing you should always note. Like, having econ management is really important. Because especially in this set where you have to buy charms, the main set mechanic that you have to interact with are charms. The charms are... Sorry, this is always blocking a little bit. I'll try and put a little bit there. Like, the charms, they cost gold, right? They have a price to them. So not only do you have to manage your gold to buy your units, you have to manage your gold for rolling, you have to manage your gold for leveling, you also need gold to buy charms to interact with the main set mechanic that can sway fights anyway, can sway the whole game anyway. Sometimes it's a charm difference when you go from a top 4 to a bot 4. It's just a matter of like being able to purchase charms even. So in this case, I know I'm contested on the Zoe reroll. I'm not going to commit to Zoe reroll. That's why I was pushing levels already. My bench is very expensive, but it's okay. I'm just holding units. Maybe I play Viger. Who knows? I might play one of these Infinite Portal. This is probably where my streaking is going to end. I don't expect to beat everybody in the lobby with a Zoe 1, a Poppy 1, and a Lilia 1. But we're just trying our best to make it there. We're trying our best to make it to like a decent spot. Can't ask for much more. So, you know, the 100 streak ends here. And we're going to try our best to decide based on our next augment what we can play. So, Avenge the Fallen I think is pretty bad. Stand United's like a cookery board, so sometimes it's not that good. This is pretty good because I'm going to be playing AP anyways. But then there's Spell Blades. So this is good for my item economy. This is good for if I'm playing for win out. So I take Spell Blades. Now, if you don't know, Spell Blades is probably one of the best performing augments right now. A lot of it is due to the Ahri. I'm sure you've seen it, the Zoe Ahri Rise, 4 Scholar, 4 Bastion board. A lot of times people were like Zoe reroll, and then after Zoe reroll, it was Ahri reroll, and then after that, now it's like Rise. It's just like all the units in that comp are very strong. Even with nerfing Ahri, Rise is still broken. Rise is still insanely strong. So right now, as you can see, how high roll am I? I have no econ augment, by the way. I'm level 7, 50 gold. Because I can sell these. I'm just deciding what to sell, like when I fight this guy next turn. But I'm gonna be level 7, 50 gold on 3-2. This is what happens with Scuttle Puddle, right? In Scuttle Puddle, when you see these guys that are 100 streaking, and you see these guys that are full streaking, if you're somewhere in the middle here, this is why out of nowhere you just lose the game. This is why I hate Scuttle Puddle, by the way. This is a game where I did really well in Scuttle Puddle because for some reason I had items that were good. Like my items were slammable. What I mean by slammable is they weren't like components that were awkward to use. So for example, you know, let's say I had like, you know, an upgraded Twitch and then I had like tier. It's like, well, like, you know, those aren't really gonna do much, or, you know, like sometimes you have items where you don't want to necessarily, like, let's say you have a glove and a belt. You're not just gonna instantly slam Guard Breaker and say that's my item, GG, because like belt is really high value because you can make anti-heal with it, and glove you can make TG. It's not as high value, but you don't want to kill a glove by just making a Guard Breaker and say, yep, that's it, that's my slam early game. Here I had like 2 good items that are really good on Zoe, and I had a board to support it, so the item slams made sense. Even here making Morello. Morello makes sense because now I have anti-heal. All I need left is Shred. I'm just kind of hoping that I luck into some Shred. If I don't luck into some Shred, I'll worry about it later. You know, you can't high roll everything. Right? If I had another like 2 Shred components, it's like, yeah, sure. But it's a matter of making the decisions in order to like actually level and streak and all of that. And as you can see, like I was streaking 5 times and I'm already in 4th place in terms of HP. Right, I'm still very strong, mind you. I'm still going to be good. I'm still going to be well off. I don't think this game is obviously going to be, like, bad in any way, shape, or form. My augments are actually insane, though. Combat Caster is so good with, like, Rise boards and Scholar boards just because they all cast a bunch. It's just a really good augment to have. And then on top of that, I also have Spell Blades, which is one of the best augments with the Rise board, right? A lot of it, because of its popularity, is because of that Zoe Rise board with Ahri. Also, I'm sorry if I'm trailing my thoughts a little bit these days. I've been like kind of nauseous and unwell on stream. Today I rolled down all my gold on level 7 because I thought I leveled to 8, but I pumped up to level 8 and I missed it by a little bit. And then I just rolled on 7 and I was wondering why I couldn't hit my upgrades. So that was a fun experience on stream. So, you know, some of these games are obviously going to be a little bit sloppy. I'm trying to, like, you know, get better and polish up and not be too unwell. But either way, looking at this game, my spot's really good, right? I have 2 really insane augments. I have a good setup to play Rise. I have a remover already because I picked it up somewhere. I probably just got it dropped at one point, so I don't even have to sell the Zoe. That's a really scary part towards the late game, is that a lot of times when you're playing Rise, you want to have Zoe on your board because she's Scholar and Portal, the same as Rise. So she gives you like both for free, basically. But sometimes if you itemize your Zoe first, then you hit a Rise, and you have to transfer items, and it's messy, and you're like, oh, you know, oh no. But we're just trying to play like as strong a board as possible. We're level 7. This guy's 100 streaking. I guarantee you he's also level 750. Right? He has 7 units on his board. He already has 2 rises. Right? He has 2 whole rises. You know, as much as you would like to think that I'm high rolling, that's what I mean. Scuttle Puddle, right? This guy was also streaking. He's in a way better spot than even I am. He has a Mordekaiser 2, this 2, and 2 rises. But we'll be fine. We're kind of angling towards Rise, or we can play Nami. I'm still down to always play Nami. These 3 items are good Nami items as well. I'm a strong believer in Nami. I think that she can just do like a shit ton of damage. I think that Nami is just slow. Like a lot of the other carries, like especially Rise, he does like that burst damage where like as soon as he casts, you see things die. Nami's like a slow burn, so unless you have like really good anti-heal or really good frontline, it'll take her a couple casts because she does like, she hits the whole board, but she doesn't do like an insane amount of damage to the board at one given time. You really need to get like, you gotta have some time with her to like make her like really cook. Right? Rise is like a pressure cooker and it just explodes. And Nami's more like, you know, you put the oven on broil and, you know, you make that pizza bubble a little bit. But it's totally fine. Either way, so that's my headspace right now, where I'm heading, what I'm trying to get in terms of my augments are great, and we're just gonna see exactly how I cap out the board. That's the goal here. I'm in a much better spot than most people in the lobby, because even though even if my units are like all 1-star and like low cost units, I'm level 750 gold on like I can pre-level 8, like like, you know what I mean? Like right now I'm gonna be level 8 on crabs, you know. So I can 4-1 send it with like 50 plus gold, and I can try and stabilize, which I probably will. This guy hit RE3. His items aren't that good. He's kind of hard forcing into it. It's not that great. This guy's going for Mordekaiser 3, and I think he's rolling on 7 for Mordekaiser 3. He's doing like a little bit of like a hybrid strategy, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I'd rather just roll on 8 odds and get, unless he's naturaling all of them, obviously. I don't know for sure. If he naturaled all those Mordekaisers, he's just Giga Highroll. But I wouldn't recommend rolling if you're playing around Rise and all of these units, because I think you can fit in the board a lot easier when you're level 8. So I'd rather just do that. But here we just go to level 8. It's an off-tempo level, by the way. So as you can see, 4-2 would have been a better interval to level, because I would have naturally made it to 8. But I want to make sure that I find at least 1 copy or 2 copies of Rise before everybody else buys them all, because then, like, you know, I'll be in a really rough spot, I think. So yeah. Now I'm in this awkward spot where I have the Zoe. I think I might just sell the Zoe. As you see, I have the Nami as well. Oh, I just remove her. I'm gonna itemize Rise right now, and then I'll figure it out. I'm 5 portals, so I have a little bit of fixing up to do, and I'm 3 Arcana because I found a Tahm Kench, and I have the Hecarim in. So we're gonna see how it ends up. Obviously, if you saw the thumbnail of this video, you know what's probably gonna happen in 1 turn. But I'll show you guys exactly how it goes down, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in general. I probably should have talked about it earlier in this video, but it's too late now. I already made the VOD, so I'm not going to edit it because I have to upload it tonight. I should have probably given a rundown on Arcana earlier, but I'm going to give the rundown now. So What the Forge, definitely not. Vanguard Crown, definitely not. Both these are bad. Freaky Friday is okay if I get like items for it, but I just take Arcana Crown. So Arcana Crown does 2 things, right? Number 1, Arcana could, well, we'll see what I hit. I'm gonna continue rolling. I'm still 50 gold, level 8, so I'm gonna roll down until I have some upgrades here. Like ideally I can fix my board a little bit. I'm 5 portal, so I either want to be 6 portal or I want to adjust some of my units. It also gave me an adaptive helm, which is pretty nice. I had an RE2, so I can itemize Ari as like a mid carry or a carry for right now. And then I found a Diana. I should probably put in the Diana over this shitter. I'm holding on to this Galio because I was hoping that maybe I can play around Nami, but I don't think I'm playing around Nami anymore. And we're going to see how this works out. I use Tahm Kench here because Tahm Kench just gives my whole board a bunch of HP. The way Arcana works, so I'll tab out for a second here. Let me just pause. Let me go to this, and let me go Arcana, TFT. Here we go. LOL wiki. This should be good enough. Alright, so Arcana, you basically pick one of the units and then you play around it. So Ari, what Ari does is she gives your team ability power, which is increased for each 3-star. So let's just look at 5 Arcana. So basically at 5 Arcana, she'll give you 25 AP plus 18 AP per each 3-star. That helps with your ability power. It's really good. That's why Ari reroll with the Zoe line is really nice, because you get Zoe 3, you get Poppy 3, you get Lilia 3, and then you get Arcana in, and then you stack Vertical Arcana, and you get a bunch of extra AP for your whole board. A lot of times you select Ari in those cases. Hecarim gives you durability and attack damage. A lot of times you'll see Hecarim being really, really good at playing around like warriors, for example, or multi-strikers, because it gives a bunch of AD, but it's generally useless here. Tahm Kench gives bonus health for each active trait except unique ones. So if you have a lot of traits in, or you have a decent amount of traits, you can just give your whole team like a bunch of extra HP. So a lot of times Tahm Kench is like your go-to in like the awkward spots, but these are the big ones, right? So the big one is Arcana Emblem. This is the part that's really unbalanced and really fucking stupid. We'll talk about Arcana Emblem right now because we're probably not going to play around it. But Arcana Emblem, basically, if you have a fawn or if you have other emblems, basically for each like spat you have, you gain damage amp. So 5 Arcana, you get damage amp plus 10% per emblem. This is why Arcana Emblem is so annoying in a Wandering Trainer situation. If you have a Wandering Trainer and you get 3 emblems and one of them's Arcana, guess what? If you fit in, which is pretty easy to fit in 4 Arcana, right? Just Hecarim, Ari, and this guy. You have 4 Arcana easily. You just get a bunch of damage amp for free. Because like you literally at every stage of the game, if you have Arcana active, you get damage amp for free. So it's so fucking annoying when it's on a training dummy, and I don't know how they're going to nerf it or how they're going to deal with it. Because outside of like specifically like Wandering Trainer or Flexible or something like that, this Arcana Emblem is not that good, but it's usually an instant win. This is the one we really care about. Xerath. This is what you usually cap your board around. A lot of times just shoving in extra Xerath is nice, because with Arcana active, you basically just do extra true damage. True damage bypasses defensive. It bypasses armor and MR, and it can make your whole board do way more damage. Strictly like as much damage as it says here. The thing is, you deal additional true damage for every 3 charms that you purchase. Xerath is really important to purchase charms every round. So a lot of times you're going to try and cap out your board. At the end of the game, you have purchased a bunch of charms, hopefully, and then for every 3 charms you basically get a bunch of extra sauce. In this game, I'm going to be trying to play 5 Arcana with a Xerath and get this buff. This is the main buff we're looking for. Excuse me, this is the main buff that we're looking for. So now let's go back to the game, and we'll watch it out. Actually, this VOD's going to be so long because I paused now. But basically, so now I basically want to roll to stabilize. I'm still paired on this unit. I'm paired on this unit, right? I have a couple of unit pairs on my board. So there's a lot of areas where I can still increase my board strength. A lot of times if you're paired on units, so for example, I'm paired on Tom Kench, I'm paired on Rise. Usually if you have like pairs of units, what I mean by pair is obviously I have one on my board and one on the bench. It makes sense to roll every turn. At least a little bit, right? You can decide how stressed you are, whether you want to keep at 30 gold, which is like a typical norm, or if you want to like try and play around the lower levels. But as you can see here, I'm basically just playing 2 Vanguards and 2 Bastions because I'm trying to fit in this extra Arcana. And I'm 4 Arcana, playing with the Tom Kench that's going to give my team like an extra couple hundred HP on every single one of the units. And then I find a Xerath. So I'm trying to think, how do I cook this board in order to fit in a Xerath here? We have an extra portal unit, so I can definitely drop a portal unit. I can also go level 9. But I want to start buying a bunch of charms because now that I have the Xerath, I can fit in at least 4 Arcana, but maybe 5 Arcana, and have a bunch of damage amp. Every 3 rounds, basically, I'm going to gain 10% damage amp. So we're going to see how high we can get that damage amp for the rest of the game, and then do as much true damage as possible in order to like win out. But we're in a pretty good spot, right? Our board's relatively stable. I don't have much upgrade. I don't have much upgraded, but I do have a lot of damage on deck, and my Rise items are pretty okay. So we're kind of happy with how things worked out here. Ideally, I still want a shred component, so if I can get Cloak, Rod, or Tear, I'll take any of those 3. So probably the most expensive cost one. I might just take a Tear, honestly, but we'll see. Yeah, I think Tear is a little bit more reliable. Because Rise does backline damage, so if I can, I'd rather have a Shiv, but it is what it is. So now I can put in Xerath here. So I put in Xerath and I put in Diana. I'm trying to decide who I put in. Because I can put in, like I'm dropping down to Scholar. I'm trying to like cook a board up here, obviously. It's probably lose Tarek for Diana, but I think I'm just a little bit scared to do that. But because like Tarek's easier to upgrade than Diana. But like I said, this isn't going to be like the same 4 Scholar, Zoe 3, Poppy 3. Like there's other ways to play it. This is what I mean by it's very flexible. Rise is still broken. It might not be the best capped board, but I'm playing around Arcana. I'm 5 Arcana. As you can see, right now I'm doing 10 bonus damage, right? It's every 3 charms you get 10 true damage. The guide I showed you was 11. It's a little bit outdated. So basically every 3 charms, which I'm going to buy a charm next turn, I'll do an extra 10% bonus damage. Now this guy, obviously very strong, but look how close this fight is. I think if I position a little bit better and my... Oh wait, do I still win this? It'd be so funny if I win this with the Zoe. I feel so bad for this guy, but it's okay. Zoe's so good. And I know what people are going to say. I know that I've been talking about Shred and Zoe gives a little bit of Shred, but relax, you know. My items here are also good for Diana, so I'm down to like swap out this Galio. Originally I was playing Galio because he was Portal and Mage, and I wanted to play around Nami. So a lot of times with Nami, you just play Rise, Galio, Nami, and you dual carry Rise with Nami, and you get Mage in for free. And then if you find a Nora, you can then have 3 Mage. So I was down for that. Here I'm just going to itemize Tahm Kench. I sell it because I have Tahm Kench 2 now, so he's obviously going to be a better tank than Galio 1. So I swap out the Galio. I'm buying a charm every turn. Now I'm at 20% damage. Now I'm at 20 extra true damage, or 20% true damage, which is a lot. And we're just going to keep going, right? It's just bonus damage on deck. This is the guy that was in first place, by the way. He rolled for the Mordekaiser 3, and then he had 2 rises, so he hit the rise as well. It's a little bit unfortunate. I got kind of railed by him. I wouldn't worry about it just yet. We just got to survive long enough to scale up the Xerath, right? If we can survive until stage 6, we'll basically be at around 50% true damage, right? Because now we're at 20%, and every 3 rounds, we basically get an extra 10% damage. So we're kind of aiming towards that little ballpark field, or that little ballpark. Of course, I can still, if I hit Taric 2, I'll swap out the Diana for Taric 2 as just another frontline unit. I'm down for it. But I'm basically 5 Arcana with the true damage boosting. Pretty much this guy can be anybody. The only, like, you know, we'll be fine. We'll have so much damage on deck, right? So let's see how we cap out the board here. I don't think I made any great mistakes just yet. It's a little bit of a greedy game. Ideally I can get a Shiv. Hopefully I can get a Shiv. But I'm probably gonna itemize Xerath as well in this case. It's a bunch of gold. I wonder what I make here. I really want Shiv. Also, Shiv is bugged on Rise, by the way. He shreds your own team, which doesn't really matter that much. It's just Spark, right? Come on. Spark? Yeah. Just Spark. Yeah, there we go. We have Shred now. I pushed levels to 9 here because I got dropped a bunch of gold, right? So I got a gold orb and it was a shit ton of gold. Also, that was a huge mistake, by the way. Did you see what I did right there? So this was because I wasn't ready for it. So I didn't think for 2 seconds. So I bought the charm because I have to buy a charm every round. It gives you a free 3-star 4 cost. And in my head, I was like, if I get like Poppy, or if I get Zoe, I'm down because Poppy I can put in the front line and Zoe I can put in the back line and it should be good. I got Lilia, which is just as good as Poppy, and it's probably better because I have a Milio, so it would have been fairy for my Milio and give my Milio an item. But I am so fucking dumb here that I didn't recognize it. I was like, oh, that's Seraphine. That's what I thought to myself. And you can see I sell it. And then, like, I think slightly after, I was like, wait a second. That was a horsey. That was a horse, girl. That was not. That was not who I thought it was. And that's my bad. Obviously, like, you know, I've been playing well up until now. But, you know, you know who I am, right? You know what I'm about. I'm bound to make a mistake one of these days. Right, we don't talk about being perfect over here. We talk about trying to be perfect. The Vigor just out damages me here. Oops, I have an arrow now. So, you know, it is what it is. But also Vigor 3, Vex 3, level 8. Very, very good spot for this guy as well. Because I got all that gold, I'm basically 30 gold level 9 now. I'm going to try my best to roll on level 9. A lot of times I would recommend staying level 8. There's not much that you're going for. Like me, I wanted to fit in 4 Scholar, and I had the Milio, so I was kind of down for it. Here, I got the Chariot, which makes rolling cost 1 gold. So I'm kind of down to send it to 0 here. I'm just going to roll my way down, trying to find this Rise upgrade. Obviously, Rise is often contested. As you can see, I am struggling to find this Rise. At least we can find maybe a Xerath too, because now I'm itemizing the Xerath over the Ahri, because I think the Xerath's just going to do way more damage. Xerath and Rise together both pepper the whole back line. They just fucking shoot everywhere and then everybody just dies. So I'm kind of down to itemize the Xerath here. And my items aren't even that bad for Xerath anyways, but I definitely think it's stronger than the Ahri. I rolled down all my gold. I still didn't hit the upgraded Rise. That's fine, but I hit upgraded Xerath, so it's not the end of the world. Obviously, if I hit Taric 2, I'll swap out my Bastion frontline for the Taric 2. We're bleeding out pretty aggressively here. We really need to like up our damage a little bit, right? A little bit of extra damage, we kill this Tahm Kench. A little bit of extra damage, we kill this Nora. As you can see, I'm spiking next turn again. So next turn would be the third charm that I buy, right? 1, 2, and then 3. So I'm going to go from 20% damage to 30% damage. And that's what I was saying. So I'm going to be 30% damage, and then by stage 6, I'm going to be 40% damage. And then if the game lasts a little bit longer, which it might because a lot of the lobby is close in HP, then we'll get more damage. And I'm kind of snowballing. Obviously, this strategy wouldn't work very well if I wasn't already super far ahead. This is why this game was very high roll, because of Scuttle Puddle. A lot of times in other cases, like if you're going reroll, for example, let's say you're playing like reroll like Kog'Maw, right? Or you're playing like reroll some other shit. Pick a reroll comp. When you're rerolling, you're buying a charm every turn anyways. So by the time you get to this late game, you already have this Xerath scaled. So that's why the Xerath is a really good +1. For example, let's say you're playing Katarina reroll. If you're playing Katarina reroll, you're probably going to have, what's his name on your board. You're probably going to have like a Hecarim on your board. And by the time you get to like a level where you hit everything, every turn that you're rolling for Katarina, you're probably going to buy a charm every single round. As opposed to like what I'm doing, where I'm only buying the charms now, like after I econed up to stage like 4 or 5. You probably have bought charms on stage 3, stage 4 as well. So the Xerath scales a lot better. So it's easy just to plop in the Xerath, like ploop, and you just get a bunch of extra true damage. So that's why the Xerath is really good at capping out your board. It's a really high value unit. So if you see one in your shop, you should always make sure to buy it and consider if you're going to level. Like obviously if you're not going to level for a while, like you're far away from hitting your units, it's not worth it to hold it on your bench because it's just expensive for no reason. But you have some options to cap out your board really nicely. And here, like I said, I'm not playing like the 4 Bastion front line because I think that the bonus true damage for 5 Arcana is going to be worth more than having a little bit of extra frontline juice. I still don't have Rise 2, by the way. I'm pretty sure if I hit Rise 2, I just win out. Like, almost guaranteed. Here I'm deciding if I keep Diana or not, because I need to buy a charm. This charm's okay, right? It gives me 8 gold if I win, and I think, like, I should win, hopefully. If I don't win, that's pretty bad. Because then if I don't win this round, I'll probably be in bot 4 contention. Here I'm playing the Ahri player. The Ahri player has an Arcana emblem and has a Xerath, but I don't think they're scaling the same way I am. Also, my augments are fucking broken. As long as I hit a Rise 2, right? My damage is cut very short because I don't have a Rise 2 and everybody else has upgrades or 3 stars. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm stronger than most people. I just got a bunch of gold. Hopefully one of the Rise players dies so that I can just get a Rise. Because, like, come on. This is so, like, this part is, like, whatever. And I'm at 10 charms. I just need to get to 12. So 2 more turns. So on 6-1, I'll be at 40% true damage. Was that gain a charm for this round only? Yeah, but I'm just rolling every turn. I'm trying to find this Rise because I need to secure myself a top 4. There's a Diana pair. I kind of gave up on the Taric. I know I was saying Taric or Diana. I kind of said, like, if I don't hit Diana, like, fuck it. You know? This guy really sucks. He's holding Rise on his bench. He's not even close to playing the Rise on his board. You know, like, what are you doing? This guy's holding an extra Rise as well. You know, like, I understand that he's full econ and he's winning the game. But, like, bro, like, this is fine. That actually makes sense. Because I beat this guy if I hit Rise 2. So it makes sense for this guy to hold. The other guy, it does not make sense for him to hold. He needs to level. He needs to make econ intervals so he can level. But anyways, guess what? I still beat this guy. Xerath 2, bang. And this was a guy that was full win streaking. Look how much HP he has. It's kind of scary. I think he's trying to go level 10 or something. I don't know what he's doing. He's like full gold. Here I'm playing against, what's it called? Playing against the Crab. I think it's Crabrave, right? Or no, is it Scuttle Puddle? I can't remember. Is it Crabrave or Scuttle Puddle? If it's Scuttle Puddle, I'm fine. If it's Crabrave, I might not be okay. But we'll see. Milio's really great because Milio drops a bunch of items to your board. I'm trying to arrange my units in such a way that Milio drops some items on the frontline units. That's why I'm positioning as such. I want Milio to kind of give Diana something to work with. It is Crabrave, by the way. I think I have enough damage, right? I have so much damage on deck now, so I'm pretty sure that this crab just dies to me. Yeah. Yeah, my backline died, but it wasn't before I took him with me. Hopefully the Ahri player or one of these Rise people holding Rise dies so I can get it. Like, come on. It's probably just another Gunblade. I kind of like, I took Gunblade on Carousel because I was trying to find like extra AP items. But I just want to put like items on Diana now. And yay, we finally hit Rise. It took until 6-1 for Rise 6-1, Rise 2. Yay! I love TFT. I'm such a high roller sometimes. But it's fine. Like, I high rolled the opener of my game. I shouldn't have 5-streaked. We're not upset about that. I stabilized around other units. If I really wanted Rise 2, I would have rolled on level 8. I decided to go 9 because I wanted to play around Xerath as well. Now the game's fucking over, by the way. 40% damage amp? 40% true damage. Good luck, bro. Watch this drive. Like, holy shit. True damage just bypasses all the defensive items too. This Xerath is gonna one-shot. Look at this shit. Xerath just 2-tapped the Ari. He just like, bro, it's not even close anymore. Which obviously is a high roll game. Don't get me wrong. You know, things happen like this. But yeah, 3 more rounds? Fuck it. 3 more rounds? I don't need increased odds for 5 cost because I'm not going for like a 3-star 5 cost or anything. This is my board, right? I have Diana too. Everybody's upgraded. I'm just rolling for charms. I got these, the training dummies. I don't like putting like sometimes like if you're really smart, you put the training dummies both on the same side as the Viger, so you waste a bunch of time. I'm dumb. Sometimes I like try and position around the unit and then I miss and then the Viger just doesn't hit the training dummies ever. So I like to put one on each side. It's not optimal, but you know, I'm too scared otherwise. But we got some value. I don't think anybody can compete with this, right? This is what I mean by like I kind of high rolled that I scaled into all of this. Hitting the Xerath early, Arcana emblem sometimes is bait, but in this case I was level 8. I had 4 Arcana already. I found the Xerath. I had enough econ that I can manage to buy charms every single round. It's not even close. This guy's getting washed by my clone, you know? And guess what? In like if he beats me here, don't worry. In this round, I'm gonna be at 50% damage amp. Sorry, 50% true damage. Like my units are doing 50% more damage. Now look at this guy. He's holding rises and things. I don't know why he's holding rises. I have a rise 2. He can't hit rise 3. But he's holding like Rakan, so he's trying to go for like Rakan 3. I found a Rakan in my shop, so I'm holding on to the Rakan. But now I'm gonna probably put in my team planner, make sure that I know to hold on to these Rakans. There's a chance this guy just scams a victory and hits Rakan 3 out of nowhere. Hopefully not, but we'll try our best. We'll see what happens. I think he's level 10 as well. Does this look anywhere near close to you, by the way? This is what I mean by you snowball really fast, right? That's why you should always, like, especially if you're reroll and you buy charms. This is Scuttle Puddle, so I'm able to make it to 9 and upgrade my board. So it's just like the most absurd game ever. I'm totally down here. This guy takes Rakan on Carousel. I should have taken the Rakan to deny the Rakan. I didn't notice it was a Rakan on Carousel, so that's my bad. So here I gotta just hope that he doesn't hit Rakan 3. Like, we just gotta cross our fingers that his 40 gold doesn't give him Rakan 3. If he hits Rakan 3, then, you know, obviously he scammed a win. That's something that I didn't pay attention to earlier. That's my bad. It's also so hard to see between this and the tall units. It's like you have just this much space to see that there's Rakan there. So it's a little bit awkward for me. And then here what I'm going to do is, I should have done it faster, but just in case, I'm going to buy and sell all of the 4-cost units. He rolled down, he didn't hit any, that's fine. I have 1, which usually finding 1 is enough, but technically to make sure that's guaranteed not going to happen, you have to find 2 of them, because there's 10 copies. So if you find 2, then it's over. Also, this guy got way stronger. I don't know what happened, but like, I think Nami 2 and some other stuff, but yeah, it's fine. 50% damage amp. Done. Or not, sorry, I keep saying damage amp. 50% true damage. I do 50% bonus true damage. So every attack that I do does an extra 50% of damage that bypasses all of the defensive, like, armor and MR resist and stuff. But anyways, if you don't know how to play around Arcana, that's typically what you do, right? If you get a trainer golem and you get Arcana, you just use the emblem a lot of the time because it's more true. It gives damage amp and it's usually enough. If you have a Xerath, you usually just play for bonus true damage and you buy charms and that's it. You have to plan ahead of it, but usually at stage 5 you're buying charms every single turn anyway, so it's always going to be some level of extra true damage. And then yeah, Rise is broken. We just played around a Forest Scholar board, found a Diana, really stable, strong front line. Tom Kench, really strong, stable front line, and then just all the Arcana units. But anyways, hopefully that was an enjoyable video. Hopefully you guys liked it. And yeah, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to make a proper guide soon. I keep saying I'm going to make it. It's coming. Don't worry. It might come out next week, even though I said it would come out Wednesday or something. It's just because, like, you know, being a little bit unwell some days, I don't wake up early enough to, like, do all the recording that I want to do. But yeah, hopefully that was enjoyable. Have a great day. And yeah, see ya.